Welcome, everyone. I'm Kimberly Boschman, and this is the Intentionally Intuitive podcast. In this episode, we're going to take a look at the numerology and the energy for both the collective and each individual life path number for August 2022. So before we get into the forecast, I just want to, of course, mention that this is a general reading. So if you would like to sort of dive more deeply into your own personal energies, because they may be very different from sort of what we're looking at collectively or what you're even looking at from a collective life path energy, then please book some time with me. I do offer month ahead forecast, personal month ahead forecast, as well as year ahead forecasts, which again are tuned into your personal numerology and your personal energies. And then, of course, I also offer coaching with numerology, your numerology reports. There's a whole plethora of offerings on my website. So if you're interested in working with me and again, diving deeper into your own numerology and personal energies, then book some time with me. I would love to work with you. Okay, so August 2022, we are working with a 14-5 energy. Now, those of us who have a lot of sort of predominant 5 energies throughout our reports, throughout our charts, this is sort of going to be more, it's just going to be more of what we're sort of used to. We're very familiar with this energy, so we can kind of adapt to it and move with the punches. But it's still going to be important to understand that we're getting a heavy dose of this month. And so just to be prepared and so to be able to work with it to the best of our abilities. Those of you who don't have a lot of 5s within your chart, this can be, sometimes 5 energy can be it can feel a little disruptive. It can feel very transformative. It can feel as if sort of the rug gets pulled out from underneath you. But it can also sort of bring more spice into your life. It can bring about this desire for freedom, to break free, to move beyond the restrictions, to travel, to explore. It's a very big, fast-moving energy. So it can be a lot to sort of wrap your head around and your energy around if you're not used to working with it. So, but it is very much working for us as opposed to against us. A lot of times with 5 energy, it tries to move us abruptly sometimes to where it is that we need to be on our journey. So if we've got distracted or we're procrastinating, the 5 energy is so good about sort of coming in like this big gust of wind to lift us up and put the wind in our sails to get us moving again. So it is very, very positive energy, but it can be a lot to work with. So let's look at the forecast. So this can be a cycle when we are forced to sort of see things from a new perspective, because we're not only working with the 5 energy, we're working with the influencing energy of the 14. So this is also, I've sort of marinated that into this forecast as well. So we can be kind of asked to see things from a new perspective through new clarity coming in or new experiences that help us to better understand a situation. So these new experiences may have us reviewing past behavior to see if there's things that we want to approach differently. This is very powerful energy. So this cycle can highlight areas where we may need to choose to modify our lifestyle in some way to get different results than what we have been seeing. There's a lot of sort of personal responsibility that's sort of, again, included in this energy, right? So this is big, explosive, and expansive energy, and desires that we didn't even know that we had can surface now. The more that we can sort of ground ourselves and keep checking in with the reality of the situation, that's really, really important to remember, like to keep checking in with the reality, because 5 energy can have you thinking about, dreaming really big and using that big imagination and going after those big goals, which is great. But we can often lose sight of the reality of the situation and what we're actually working with. And so it's important to keep coming back to that. I kind of sometimes think of 5 energy as being very similar to like Uranus energy in astrology. It's got a lot of the same kind of dynamic influences. So anyway, so again, the more that we can ground ourselves and keep checking in with the reality of the situation, the less likely we are to sort of get swept up into something that's not truly aligned with us and our goals. So pay attention to, again, like what comes in for you this month. Not to say that new relationships that come in this month or that sort of get springboarded this month won't last. It's very possible that they could, and it could be that this energy is coming in to sort of facilitate that. But it's also possible that we're putting on 6 layers of rose-colored glasses and sort of getting enamored with maybe somebody or something that's not necessarily the best long-term fit. So just kind of keep that in mind. And that's what I say, keep coming back to the reality of the situation, right? Try to find a way to marry both those that more idealistic viewpoint and the reality, and then you'll have like a healthy balance. So this can be incredibly creative energy. So this can be a very creative period where sort of we move the magic of the imagination into something more tangible within the physical reality. So this is very supportive energy for unconventional thinking and creating as far outside of the box as your imagination wants to take you. So play in the realm of creativity as much as possible, while also keeping yourself grounded as much as possible. So again, you're finding the balance between the two and having them work together with synastry, right? Like this can be such an incredibly powerful, creative period if we work with the energy in a very balanced way. So moderation, as I always say with 5 energy, is going to be key for the best results, right? For the most beneficial results of this energy. This can also be a profitable time for commercial, sort of seeing more money and business dealings. So anything that you have to do, like any kind of interaction or any kind of, just any kind of interaction that you have or transaction that you have that's commercial, around money, around business dealings, can be very profitable at this time. Just make sure that you're slowing down and paying attention to all of the details and the possible outcomes or scenarios before fully committing or signing your name to anything. And so I want to repeat that because I think it's really, really important, especially when we're working with 5 energy, because we don't have like any kind of 4 energy here, although we might have some through the illuminations of the full moon or the new moon. I can't remember. But 4 energy is like the details. 5 energy is just, let's go. It's so big and expansive that a lot of times it can lose sight of those details, right? The finer print. So again, slow down, pay attention to all of the details and the possible outcomes or scenarios before fully committing or signing your name to anything. So again, it's not like you want to be the Debbie Downer or, be pessimistic or whatever. It's again, bringing that realism into the situation to be like, okay, this is the risk. This is what could potentially come from that risk. This is the potential outcomes. And this is the scenarios that I could be facing if I take this risk. Is it worth that to me? Right. So there just needs to be kind of this, in the midst of all of this big energy, these periods of checking in and making sure that, the route that you're taking or the risks that you're taking are what you want to be taking, or that you're open to, that you're okay. You've explored the possible outcomes and you're okay with those. You might not want to have to deal with those possible outcomes, but you've evaluated them and you can work with them, right? 14-5 energy can bring big hopes and huge aspirations that make it really easy to sort of disregard or overlook possible catastrophic outcomes. And so that's what I mean. It's like, yes, take a risk, but be sure you're well aware of what the potential risks are before saying yes. And of course, it's life, so we don't always know everything that could possibly happen. I think that's implied, right? But it's about doing your best to try to do the research, just to make sure that you have an understanding of what could potentially go wrong, and are you able to work with that, right? If that were to happen, if the worst case scenario were to occur, can you handle that? Can you work with that? If the risk is too great, then you may want to modify it. So modify the situation, modify the opportunity, modify whatever you need to modify, so that if things do go sideways, then you can somewhat easily dust yourself off and start over without too much devastation, right? You don't want to do anything that if things go sideways, it's going to set you back so far that you're now digging yourself out of a hole to try to recover. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, just keep your head about you and just be mindful, right? Just do the research. Just make sure that you're fully educated and fully aware of the potentiality of what could come from these big risks. But don't let that scare you. Like if you do the research and you say, okay, you know what, this is the risk. Yeah, it would suck, but I am fully capable of overcoming it, whatever. It might be a little bit of a setback, but it's not going to devastate me or my family. Go for it, right? Because it's not meant to put fear in you to not do the things that your soul wants to do. It's just to be well educated to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for potential failure, right? Because it also, things with big risks, right? Things with the potential for a big risk, right? Also have the potential for not only like big devastation, but big wins, right? And so you just have to look at it for your own situation and see, what are you willing to say yes to? What are you willing to work with if it goes sideways? So competitive situations can also surface under this energy. So if that happens, try to keep those interactions light and playful. That's going to be really, really important, because otherwise you're inviting in conflict and chaos that can arise very quickly and unnecessarily. So choose how you participate, as always, with this energy. And as always, moderation is going to be key. The more that you can bring in moderation, continue to find your balance, continue to remain centered, then you are going to benefit from this energy in spades. I mean, there's just so much potential here to really flourish under this energy, but just remain as grounded as possible as you play in this 5 energy. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at each individual life path number now. Life path 33-6. So I pulled an animal spirit message for you all, and you got dove spirit. And I love this for 33s. To me, this sort of could be like a power animal for the 33s. Like dove energy is just so beautiful, so peaceful, so unconventional or unconditionally loving, which is really the pinnacle or sort of the center, the core of 33 energy. And so really when dove energy came out, it just reminded me of you. Like it just made me think of 33 energy. It's just such a light, spiritual, beautiful, again, just divine love energy. And so I love this for you all. I love that this is coming out right now. So for you all, with dove coming out, there really is this message about divine messages coming through. That is the core of this. And so I really do think that this month for you all could bring in some very potent divine messages. So pay attention to what comes through for you. I mean, do it anyway and all the time, but really this month, I do think that there's going to be like profound messages coming through, potentially like aha moments, insights, awakenings, clarity, that feel almost cosmic, that feel bigger than you. For some of you, you might get a download or an idea to do something that just feels so much bigger than you, and you don't know how you're going to do it, or whatever the case may be. That's okay. Write it down and then come back to it. And the thing is, it's kind of like when these messages come through, when something comes through from like the universe, right? Or God, or a higher source, or a higher consciousness, or whatever. If it's meant for us, if we're meant to do something with it, it's not going to stop coming in. It's going to keep coming in. It might come in different ways, but it's going to keep coming. It's not something that we miss. So our soul, our higher consciousness, the universe, whatever, is relentless in trying to help us to achieve what our soul came here to achieve in this lifetime. So I say pay attention to it, and you're going to know, right? Like when this comes in, it just feels bigger than you. It feels like it's you can't wrap your head around it. It doesn't have to be something huge, right? But it's something that's meant for you. that's meant to help you on your journey, that's meant to help you on your path, or to step into purpose, or whatever the case may be. And so I do feel like with Dove coming in, because doves are really sort of the messenger from spirit to us, right? To help us to fall into alignment with love and, joy and our divinity, basically. So I do think the messages that come in for you all this month could carry a lot of weight and could be very profound. So just pay attention to it. I think this is beautiful energy, absolutely beautiful. And it's really helping you to get into alignment or to maintain alignment with with your 33 energy. So it's incredibly beautiful. What I also love about this is for this month, of course, you're working with the 5 energy that we are all working with collectively, but you all are also working with 38, 11, 2 energy. And so there's sort of a double dose of master level energy that you all have an undercurrent of this month, because you have your 33 energy, and then now you have this 11 energy. So this has the potential to be a very, very positive energy for love relationships. And it doesn't have to be like romantic partnerships, but it can very much be like strengthening or deepening those relationships with friends, family, or a partner, right? So somebody who feels very close to your heart, that you could see some kind of change in personal status this month. You could see marriage. For some of you, you could see a divorce if that's something that you want. This could also see like a change in status. So like you could get partnered if you are single, or you could be partnered and then you become single. But there's some kind of potential change in status when it comes to relationships. Relationships are really being highlighted this month for you all. There's also this thing about, again, just taking something to the next level, but again, it feels like around relationships. So it can be like mending, healing, or again, getting engaged or moving in together, or getting a pet, or, or deciding to have a family or whatever. But there's something here about taking a relationship, but a relationship that's close to your heart, to the next level. Dreams can definitely come true under this energy. So again, if there's something that you really have been wanting or wishing for or hoping for or putting your energy and focus into and your intention behind, this energy can see that sort of come to life now, or help it to come to life now. It's kind of like you planted the seed, and now this energy is like helping it to grow and come to fruition. This is incredibly beautiful area. And again, this can be in any area of life. The energy is ripe. You just need to show up and do your part, right? So the energy is present. It's there. It wants to see you succeed. And what's beautiful about this, it's kind of like the energy is there. You have the potential to show up and sort of nurture it. And then you have the universe working with you, sending you the ideas, right? Or your higher consciousness, or whatever you subscribe to. Sending you the ideas. So it's kind of like the ideas come in, you take the action, and this energy nurtures it and supports it and helps it to grow and come to fruition. So talk about synergy, talk about conspiring, like all these forces coming together, which you are a part of, to bring this idea, this creation into physical form, whatever that is for you. It can feel sort of like with this energy that a lot is being demanded of you now, but this energy promises to bring great rewards for your efforts. So any effort, any energy that you put forth now will be rewarded, right? So, and plus this 33s, y'all are quite used to this sort of this big demanding energy looming above you, right? So you're used to this feeling. But it can feel a little bit more intense this month for you all. So just kind of keep that in mind, but just know that any effort you put forth will be rewarded. Relationships forged this month, especially more intimate relationships, could be very deep, very meaningful, and very long lasting. And the same thing goes for like if you're in a relationship and you take it to the next level. It's almost like the glue that is holding that relationship together, that decision. You see what I'm saying? So it has the potential under this energy to be, again, very deep, very meaningful, very long lasting. So again, be very mindful of the decisions that you make this month. Be mindful of where you place that glue, right? Pay attention to your day and your night dreams and follow those hunches, even if they seem to come out of nowhere. So this is like the idea of like you're walking down the street and you're like, oh, I feel like I want an ice cream. But, you're not really, you have to kind of go out of your way to go to the ice cream shop. But you go to the ice cream shop because you have that feeling. And then you meet like your lifelong partner or a business partner or a lifelong friend or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's that kind of synchronicities or following your intuition in that way. Pay attention to those hunches because again, think of dove spirit, right? Those divine messages. I feel like for you all, this month is going to be very potent when it comes to divine messages coming through. You decide which ones you hold on to, which ones you sort of nurture and help to grow, and which ones you're not ready to partake in. But I would say pay attention to the messages, pay attention to the hunches, because a lot of times that's how spirit is going to communicate with us, are through the synchronicities, are through the symbols, are through those hunches, our intuition, right? Because we're energy and we're connected in energy. And so that is how the universe gets through to us, is through the energetic vibe. So pay attention to that vibe because it's leading you somewhere that's important. This is also a great energy to explore and play within the realms of the metaphysical. So again, anything like psychic, anything intuitive. If you're into, again, the more metaphysical, like divination tools, this would be great time to get a reading or to buy some oracle cards or tarot or whatever. This is just, or read a book about something in the metaphysical realm, because ultimately 33s are very intuitive and very psychic, very spiritually connected. There's like 33 energy is so, again, just spiritually connected that there's just like a thin veil that you all sort of carry with you in this lifetime. I mean, we all do, but I would say 7s, 11s, and 33s are very, very sensitive. And so this can be a great month to really, because you have the 11 energy that you're working with also, to really feel into that more sensitive side of yourself. And follow those hunches and be open to the messages that come through. So if you're somebody who is more practical or more in the physical, this can feel a little uncomfortable. But I wouldn't be surprised for some of you if you just wake up one day and you're opened up to those psychic gifts and you start, open up your clairs, basically, right? Where you hear things or see things or feel things or whatever. It's very, very possible. And it is very possible to like just wake up one day and have that just busted wide open. Learning what to do with it and how to work with it is the next step, right? But it's very, very possible under this energy because, again, you're a 33 and you have this 11 energy that you're working with very, very strongly. And then you have dove energy coming through. So just pay attention to it. Just honor and work with whatever comes through. Maybe you start working with crystals. Maybe you start, again, the tools are more to like help you to nurture and grow and expand those gifts. They are not the gift, right? So you might be a good tarot reader, but the tarot is just the tool. Really what you're doing is tapping into your higher consciousness, to the energy, right? Like you're learning to read that energy and work with that energy, but the divination tool is assisting you. It's kind of like the mentor or the teacher. And so my point being, this is a great month for you all to really dive into that if it's something that calls to you or speaks to you. Same thing with your intuition. This is going to be a great month for really following those hunches because I think you'll be really pleased with where they lead you. So beautiful, beautiful energy for you all this month, especially with dove energy coming through. I think this is going to be a month potentially for, like I said, just a lot of insight, clarity, but like divine clarity, right? Like it feels like not divine intervention necessarily, but just it's almost like you can feel the universe working with you and trying to communicate with you. And it becomes like this very strong partnership, which can be incredibly beautiful. So I hope it's a beautiful month for you all. I think it will be. It has the potential to be. Again, it's what we do with the energy, but incredibly beautiful energy coming through for you all 33s. I hope it's a great August. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.